Early 2000s rom-coms. We all know them, we all love them. 13 Going on 30, The Proposal, and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days are a few that I loved growing up and honestly still love. However, looking back, it is hard not to notice how each of these movies have essentially the same plot when really boiled down. The whole businesswoman finds love trope. Each movie follows similar conventions, mise-en-scène, and plot lines. In How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Andy is a hardworking writer for a magazine in New York who takes on the challenge to write an article about, you guessed it, how to lose a guy in 10 days. She meets Ben, who is ironically trying to make a woman fall in love with him in 10 days. Through a series of quirky events, she falls in love with Ben and lives happily ever after. In 13 Going on 30, Jenna's 13th birthday wish is granted when she wakes up as her 30-year-old self. She comes to find out that she grows up to be a writer for a magazine in New York who doesn't care about anything but getting herself ahead. She decides to take a step back and reconnect with her childhood best friend, Matt. Through a series of quirky events, she falls in love with Matt and lives happily ever after. In The Proposal, businesswoman Margaret, working in, you guessed it, New York, learns that her visa will expire soon, and in order to stay in the U.S. and keep her job, she must marry her employee Andrew to gain citizenship. Through a series of quirky events, she falls in love with Andrew, and once again, you guessed it, lives happily ever after. Essentially, what we have here is 3 movies where a businesswoman who doesn't care too much about her love life because she's busy pursuing a career is forced to focus on her love life for one reason or another, meets the man of her dreams, and through a quirky series of events, lives happily ever after. So why were the early 2000s writers so stuck on this story arc? I tried coming up with a conclusive answer, but there doesn't really seem to be one other than the obvious fact that there is a stereotype that women cannot be fulfilled and content with just a career. They need a husband and family. There are plenty of movies where men can be fulfilled by just their jobs and not need to find a partner. Each of these movies could realistically have been developed without the romantic relationship. While I do understand that when signing up to watch a rom-com movie, I am signing up to watch a romantic relationship develop, I just find it interesting that Hollywood was so obsessed with businesswomen finding love at this time, yet there are no stories about simply businesswomen succeeding in their careers. This message is sending to young women that they cannot be fulfilled by just a career alone. They will also need a romantic relationship to be truly happy. Not a great message to be making to younger viewers. However, I do think there are more movies recently that tell better stories with women leads that aren't all about finding love interests. So I think we are moving towards more interesting female-led stories. These movies don't just have the plot in common. There are many similarities that can be drawn through their mise-en-scène. Through every movie, costuming, hair, lighting, and locations are consistent. In every movie, a lot can be told about the progression through the protagonist's hair. In The Proposal, Margaret's hair starts out in a tight ponytail, just like how she starts off very tightly wound, but as she lets her hair down metaphorically and gets more comfortable with Andrew, she lets her hair down physically. In Jenna's hair from 13 Going on 30, you can see her mature. Her first couple days as a 30-year-old, she sticks with hairstyles that would have been popular in the 80s when she was a teen, but as she grows through the movie, her hair becomes more natural and styled the way an actual 30-year-old might do their hair. Finally, in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Andy goes from styling her hair in the beginning to wearing her natural hair in the end scene. Hair is used in each movie to convey character development. Lighting is used in each movie to convey different emotions. When love interests are introduced, it is all bright and happy. When the inevitable fight comes along, they are in a much darker setting. These more dimly lit scenes show the gravity of the situation and how the characters feel when drifting apart. It is usually quite the stark difference from the lighting throughout the rest of the movie. It comes full circle by the ending with a bright and happy high lighting note. High-key lighting is generally used throughout each movie and in the end scene especially to convey happiness. There are warm tones in each movie. In conclusion, many similarities can be drawn from these 3 movies. Their plots arguably being the greatest, but they all follow many similar conventions overall that include but are not limited to lighting and hair to help viewers understand situations more clearly.